Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stu Clark. We're back in the yard today. What we're going to look at today is suet logs. If you watched any of my other videos on setting up your backyard for feeders, today we're going to look at suet logs. And suet is a really important component for attracting birds to your yard. You're going to get a lot different species coming in for suet than you will for seed. Things like finches and like will only eat seed, they won't go to the suet. But on the flip side of that is the woodpeckers, downy woodpeckers, hairy woodpeckers, pileated woodpeckers. All of them are the bird species you're going to attract to suet. So suet is you can put, typically you can buy it in a suet cake, which goes in one of those suet cages, less than photogenic. So what we're going to look at today is setting up a suet log, and this is basically a two-stage process. You've got your main feeder log that you want to set up, but then you're going to have your photography log, and ideally they're going to be separate. So you don't want to go out in the woods when you're first starting to set up your feeders, spend hours trying to find that perfect suet log, get home, set it up when you haven't been attracting any birds yet. And the reason being is that you're going to get squirrels, you're going to get raccoons at night, you're going to get all kinds of critters coming in, and all that moss, all the lichen, anything you've got in that beautiful setup log is just basically going to get stripped off in the first 2 or 3 nights it's out. Today we're going to do the feeder setup log. So this is going to be the one where you want to set it up and you're going to let it sit. You're going to let it sit for 1, 2, 3 weeks, however long it takes till you start getting in regular activity of, your flickers start coming in, the woodpeckers, things like that. Once you get kind of a regular visitation by some of these neater birds, that's when we'll go and we'll talk about how to set up that really pretty log to really nail those photos. With the feeder setup log, you've got 3 different kinds of suet that you can generally get. So you can buy the suet plugs. These ones are already cut, so you can just basically put these into the hole and cut them off. I find a lot of times these ones are quite hard. The harder the suet is, often the less attractive it is to the birds. I do find sometimes they do prefer some of the softer suet, and I think it's just the compounds of what it's made of. I found these ones were quite a bit harder, and I got some activity on it, but not as much as some other suets out there. You've got your, naturally nuts for Wild Birds Unlimited is a really good classic suet. This is really effective, and basically just kind of utilize this and kind of scoop this into the hole. Works really, really well. It's a bit chunky, so you will have some drop on the ground, but this is an excellent suet. And then this here is a Canadian suet spread. So this one is a little bit softer in compound, so it makes it a little bit easier. So you actually spread it on the bark. You can kind of put it into the holes of the log. So this is a really nice one for especially getting to the artistic side of it. You want to kind of hide where you place the suet, but still have lots of food available to the birds. The spread is a really great way to go. So with logs, basically, we're going to need a couple of things today. So we're going to need a spade bit, anywhere from 5/8 to 1 inch. This is a 3/4, or a Forstner bit. Either one, whatever you have available to you, whatever is the cheapest. It's one of those things. You will be using these quite a bit because suet logs are something that, because they're natural and you're putting fat, basically animal fat into them, it's something you want to cycle them through fairly regularly, especially here on the coast. The log we have, one of the examples today, it's quite wet. I'll leave it out for a week or 2 and then we'll make sure to move it along. Like I said, it's something that I'm constantly cycling them out just to kind of keep the feeder set up as healthy as possible. So a good cordless drill. So when you're setting up the log, if you're planning on photographing it, you will drill the holes out differently than you will if you're just setting up as a food log. As a food log, you want to have lots of holes, lots of food available so that you can really kind of draw attention to it and get as many birds in as possible. when you're looking at setting it up for photography, you're going to want to set it up where you've got a few holes at the top of the log. You don't want to go too low on the log. You don't want the bird too low, but there's definitely different parameters for how you're going to go about shooting it for the photography side of it versus just the bird feeding side of it. Today we're just going to look, I said, we're going to look at the bird feeding side of it. We'll take some photos on this log. Hopefully we have some activity. It's been really quiet the last couple days. And then in a few weeks' time, once we've kind of got some traffic on this, we'll go through kind of setting up the really pretty log, and we'll kind of give examples of what you can get out of kind of a really nice setup log. If you've watched one of my previous videos, I've set up a platform. What I've done with the platform here is, you can see I've got this 4-inch ABS pipe. So this is kind of the base where the log will actually slide into this. Makes it nice and simple for swapping logs out. So if you've seen that in my previous video, like how I made this, it's a great idea to check that out. I'll leave a link down below for that. But this is kind of the core of what we're going to be putting the logs into. So basically what we're going to do is we are going to drill all over this log. We're just going to drill a bunch of holes into it. Remember your safety glasses. Always important when you're doing any sort of woodwork. So I like to drill it where it's about, inch and a half into the log. I will space them out around the log. I do like to know, I don't want to go too low down the log. I like to have it where the birds have got, they're going to be 3 or 4 feet off the ground, ideally. You don't want to have, the woodpeckers don't like being too low, a lot of species, and you want to make sure they're not ideally out of a jumping range of local cats. Okay, we got a good amount of holes drilled out there. Let's move this up a little bit. So we got a good amount of holes drilled in this now. So let's have a look at how we're going to place this in the feeder. So what's nice about this setup, because I have got this, I used a reciprocating saw to kind of cut off some of the lower branches. What's really nice with this is that basically I can just lower this into place and it's nice and solid. It's in place. I don't have to worry about trying to fix it on anything. So this is a really nice way to deal with suet logs, especially if you're swapping them out. So some of you might be asking, why don't I hang this from a pole setup? And one of the big issues if you're trying to hang, unless you had a really heavy log, if you're trying to hang a large log, that'd be fine. But a lot of times if you go into the shops, you'll see the suet logs are quite small and they're quite, it's 18 inches long, sort of thing. The problem with that is you get a pileated woodpecker on it, and they like to use their tail as a prop. And because they're such a large bird, they end up putting the whole suet log on an angle when they land on it. So it's less than ideal. And oftentimes, because of the shorter log, their tail will end up hanging off the end. So you end up with not a natural pose compared to like a larger tree here, where it's like landing on a tree essentially. So this is all good. We've got it nice and solid on here. And because this is the feeder log, so to speak, I'm not too concerned about having some sawdust and everything on it. Once for the photography log, we'll definitely be trying to make sure will be a lot. We might not even drill that one. We might just use the spread on that one in the bark crevices of the bark, so that it's not shown when the birds come in. Okay, so let's have a quick peek. What we're going to do now is we're going to basically kind of have a look at where the log is going to line up from a photography standpoint. If you can see how if I shoot on this side of the log, I'll end up with that Douglas fir as the backdrop. If I shoot on this side of the log, I end up with the cedars in the backdrop. So even with a single setup of a log, depending on how you've got it situated with your backdrop, you can get completely different shots on one side of the log or the other. when it comes to setting up the photography log, we're definitely going to pick one or the other because we're only going to have the food available on one side. We won't have it available all around. That way we're much more, any bird that comes in will be coming to the exact spot we want it to, ideally kind of, with the nice green background over here, depending on what we're trying to do. Also, we might even put the log a little bit lower to get the moss, green moss as a backdrop when we're doing the setup for the shooting. We'll see how what birds show up and how skittish they are and everything else. But right now this is nice because this log is it's set up and it's about 6 feet off the ground to the top here. It's about 6 feet to the top. So it's a nice, and the birds are 3 or 4 feet off the ground. So that's kind of the perfect feeder setup. We've got lots of holes in it. So let's kind of pack it with some food and see what comes in. So what I just basically do is cut out a good chunk and then just use my thumb or knife and just mash it into the holes. So you can just buy the regular suet cakes to do this as well. You don't have to buy a big tub like this. Generally, you can about a half a cake will work for topping a log up. Okay, so we got the suet all in there now. So let's grab the cameras and we'll kind of get set up and see what comes in. So obviously we just set the log up. No idea if anything's going to come in today. It's been a little quiet this week. It's actually been quite warm. I think the birds are out in the forest eating natural seeds, which is great. One of the things with doing setups like this, you can be out here for an awfully long time. If you watched my video on using auto capture, this definitely pertains to that as well. It can be really handy to utilize a battery backup because you can be out here for long days. Especially if you want to set up auto capture, you might want to have it set up for the day. So using a monitor it can be really easy on the neck. A lot of times, like where I want to sit down, camera's a little bit higher than me. So utilizing a monitor is really nice to have the monitor at eye level, and I'm not having to constantly be looking up at the camera just because you're out here for long periods of time. Neewer asked if I do a review of their 10,500 milliamp hour Np-F970 battery. So this is a battery that you utilize for monitors. It's a Sony battery essentially, but basically it does work on a monitor like this. So you can see it's a good sized battery that goes on the back of the monitor. But where this battery is really nice, especially with a camera like the Z8, which can be a little bit, it gets good battery life, but in a situation like this, if you're shooting lots of video, lots of photos, and leaving it, let's say, for hours with auto capture enabled, having that extra battery, power is really nice. So it connects to the back of the monitor, as you can see, but it also has a USB-C power out. So you can see it's got the USB-C power out, and then I'm able to plug that into the battery power port on the camera, which basically will give me hours of battery life. You can see the battery showing is charging here. So this makes it really nice in this sort of shooting situation where you're a lot of waiting. You don't want to be turning the camera on and off all the time. A lot of time, your subjects will come in quick and you don't want to be kind of powering the camera on and off all the time. But then you also don't want to be swapping batteries, especially shooting in the wintertime when it can be quite cool. Having that extra power to get you through the day is great. And being able to just plug this right in, so not only power the monitor, also powers the camera. And it's just a great way to shoot for this type of setup photography, when you're say you're going to be out for you're going to be out for the whole day, you don't know when your subjects are coming in, but being able to have everything powered up is just awesome. And at 10,500 milliamp hours, this should power this camera up for a better part of the day. And especially with auto capture, where it will go into a bit of a dormant state between, that would be an excellent way to kind of keep it running throughout the day, just kind of have that plugged in. One thing I really like with this is the way it will show the actual percentage of battery left. It's a really nice feature. Previously, I have some of their older versions of this battery, and they just kind of do the LED light kind of showing whether it's at 25, 50%. So having the actual percentage of your charge left is just great. It really helps you, just gives you a much better idea of where you sit for the day. When you're kind of waiting for your subjects, you know whether or not you're going to be getting low on power or not. Oh, we have some chickadees coming in. We actually have some subjects coming in. Very cool. So you can see as I move this log up and down how much different the background gets depending on where you're looking at. The green grass background right now. So that's the green grass background. As I move up, we kind of get into more of the foresty background. But I actually don't mind having the variation in there. I find it adds some, add some variety to the shot depending on where the subject lands on the log. When we get into the next video, where we'll be looking at kind of the photography log, where we really want to dial it in, we'll be kind of taking it to the next level. We want to make sure that the holes for the suet are right lined up with what we want as a backdrop, whether it be the green grasses, the Douglas fir as the backdrop in the background there, but it gives us some options of how we want to set it up, and we'll kind of move the log accordingly. But for this one right now, we're trying to just get the food out there, get the word known in the neighborhood that we've got some great suet being fed. Oh, we got a chickadee there. You can see there how the chickadee landed on the back side of the log. So then you can't see it. So this is where, like I say, when you get to the photography side of it, we're going to dial that in a little bit more. But right now we want to make it where we've got 360 food visible on the log, and hopefully we can get those woodpeckers coming down. And there'll be some leave affiliate links down below for the battery. I say it's a really nice feature if you are using a monitor with the F970 battery. There are smaller versions of this. This is the large one at 10,500 milliamps. Where you are going to be utilizing a monitor, you might as well be able to get some power off it as well for your camera. You could also microphone could also be plugged into it. You could charge your phone off it if need be. But yeah, it's just nice having that kind of dual purpose. You know, a lot of times if you just, like I said, the original batteries I bought for this only worked for the monitor. And so they're kind of limited. You know, you're carrying around this extra weight that can only charge or only power one thing. So having that USB-C charge capability off of it is just amazing. Just makes it so much more useful when you're out shooting, being able to have that extra power source when needed, and USB is obviously charges pretty much everything nowadays. And there'll be affiliate links down below. If you purchase through the affiliate links, that really helps me, helps the channel out and helps me bring you content like this. You can see with having the monitor here, it's at eye level as opposed to having to look my head up all the time. It makes it a lot easier on the neck at the end of the day. So having that monitor is it's a really nice way of shooting a setup, especially depending on how your seating situation is. You don't want to be standing all day. So with this setup, right now I've got the camera higher because I'm trying to get the green background on a large part of the log. So your camera height will really depend on how you've got the branches, the logs, the feeders set up. So having the option of being able to drop the monitor down below the camera, it makes it a lot easier for my line of sight. It's kind of I'm looking straight. The monitor is actually right in line with the log, even though the camera is quite a bit higher because the camera is going to be shooting down. So that monitor is really nice. And they say having that extra battery power charging it where it's really versatile for what I can connect to it really makes sense. So once we kind of get some birds established here, we'll kind of do in the next, we'll in the coming weeks, like I say, once we've got a bit of traffic coming to the Suet log, it's a bit quiet right now. What we're going to do, we'll set up, got this amazing lichen covered, really pretty log, kind of set aside, waiting for some activity to increase. When we do that setup, I'm going to go through and we'll do an advanced auto capture setup for that. It's kind of the perfect candidate because we're going to be getting birds coming into a very specific side of the log. We'll go through and we'll talk about how to get it set up for kind of just to really take advantage of the distances with it and really kind of dial it in for, you know, kind of that. It's really the perfect scenario where we can get it set up, have it all powered, where we can leave it for, you know, basically leave it out for the day, and hopefully we get some awesome shots of, you know, hopefully things like pileated woodpeckers we have in the area. Might possibly get some red-breasted sapsuckers. Red-breasted sapsuckers, sometimes they'll come into Suet logs. They're a bit different that way. We do have some haries around, hairy woodpeckers, northern flickers, downy woodpeckers, all that. So there is bush tits in the neighborhood, but funny enough, they never come into my yard. It's a weird one. I think, I don't know why. They were up, you know, I go for a 5-minute walk and see bush tits everywhere, but I rarely get them here. So, but that's a possibility, getting them coming in as well. Yeah, just a quick video today on how to kind of set up a Suet log in your yard. It is a great way to attract a bunch of different species. Once the spring migration starts, we get black-headed grosbeaks are really good for the Suet. Yeah, you get all kinds of birds coming in on the Suet that you never really know what you're going to get. But yeah, quiet day today. Like I say, we're just getting the ball rolling with it. I've had seed out for a long time, but not Suet so much. So yeah, I'll leave you with some photos from some past Suet log adventures and give you an idea of what you can get. And then I say in coming weeks here, once we get a bit more traffic coming in, we'll kind of set up that really pretty log. We'll go through how I utilize the spread and how we kind of hide that on the one side. And then we'll kind of set up kind of advanced auto capture settings so you can hopefully nail that shot. Thanks for joining me today. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoy this sort of content, nature photography, bird photography. Until next time, we'll see you out there. Take care.